Hi, in this short video I want to explain to you the idea of a functional artifact, and I hope that after watching this you'll understand when we speak of a functional artifact and why engineering is all about creating functional artifacts.
The first question is, what is an artifact? On the left you see a jungle, rainforest, purely created by nature, untouched by humans. That is what we would consider not to be an artifact. On the right you see a beautifully sculpted garden. It's likewise organism, it's living structures, but arranged by humans to be pleasing to the eye and perhaps to give a serene atmosphere for an evening walk. So we define an artifact as a structure made by humans to shape a process so that it increases the measure of performance of a target system within some larger system of interest. Many keywords that I hope you will grasp as we see some examples. So on the right you see the system of interest being the larger within which we focus as engineers on a particular target system, and in this target system we place an artifact, a structure that we've designed so that it shapes a particular process, our target process, in such a way that the measure of performance of the target system improves. So system engineering is about designing artifacts that improve the performance of processes. If we look at this example, we can see the umbrella as an artifact. You see a family having a barbecue, it's raining, and normally the barbecue would get wet and not do its work, and the person would get wet and not be happy. But here we have introduced a structure, the umbrella, which shapes the process of the falling water in such a way that it's good. So in this case the water flow is shaped such that two measures of performance, the amount of water falling on the barbecue and the amount of water falling on the person, is reduced. Actually it becomes zero. A good umbrella keeps you dry. So the target system itself would be the barbecue and the person as part of a larger system, the family whom you don't see on the picture, but there's of course a larger group and they're having a party. An artifact is functional when it shapes a process as intended. So just a hairdryer is not yet functional. But an artifact becomes functional when you embed it in the correct context. So a context that features the processes and drivers and structures needed for the artifact to become functional. So you need a person with hair to be dried, and you may need electric current. So another word for function would be a process shaped to perform. So whenever we talk about the function of an artifact, we mean the process that that artifact is intended to shape, such that it is improving performance to the human eye. So in our case, the artifact is the structure, a complex structure, the hairdryer, which, driven by electric power, will produce a flow of hot air. That is the process that's being shaped by the artifact, and that then increases performance. It reduces the time to dry, it improves the quality of the hair, or at least it does not degrade it, and it does not degrade the comfort of a person. So you can see a good hairdryer doesn't produce too much noise, does not produce too hot air, etc. So interestingly, you can use a hairdryer also to light a barbecue. Is it then still a functional artifact? Yes, because as you can see, it is placed in a context where it actually improves the performance of a particular process, in this case the burning barbecue. However, the original designers of the hairdryer did not intend this particular function. But on the right you see, here we have an artifact that was designed for this particular function. It's made of metal. Actually, it has a clasp, so you can fix it to the rim of the barbecue and you don't have to pay attention, and you can actually spend your time on getting the sausages and the eggplants ready to put on the barbecue. Artifacts clearly can have multiple functions. So if a hairdryer can be used for drying hair but also for lighting a barbecue, likewise the key classic example of the Swiss Army knife can perform many functions. But likewise, a simple crate that is actually designed to hold bottles of beer and will allow you to transport it easily can also be used for many different functions. You can use it as a bar stool to support while you're sitting. You can use it to support plastic that then contains water such that you can actually bathe in it. Or it can be used to transport other things than beer and actually be mounted on a bicycle so that the performance of transport is enhanced even more because you can make better speed on a bike. To be functional, an artifact must be within a context that features the right processes. Here we see a bridge, and a bridge is functional only when there is a traffic flow, when there are people who want to drive from the one side of the river to the other side. So here we see non-functional artifacts. If a bridge does not have the other end, or if a bridge cannot be accessed on either side, clearly it does not perform its intended function. It may, however, still perform other functions, such as being interesting to look at, and then you could say it is a piece of art. So if we consider a bike lock, clearly we see here a bike lock performing its function. It is keeping a bike securely fastened to prevent theft. And here we see the same type of locks, padlocks, performing a totally different function. As a lock they are not functional, but as a symbol, as an expression of love and an eternal relationship, it has become very popular. It has come to denote that meaning. And symbols, like language, are institutional artifacts. They are social artifacts that humans give meaning and that we use to communicate or to express feelings, thoughts. So here we see an institutional artifact that of recent days. It is meant to get an idea across, to give instruction. So this instruction card or infographic is meant to shape your thought processes, to think about what can I do to prevent COVID from spreading. But of course, also, like the bridge, it assumes that there is a context that will make this institutional artifact function. If you don't speak English, if you cannot read, if you do not understand the icon language, then clearly this infographic will not function. It will not perform and shape the process, the thought processes as it's intended. So every artifact needs a context that is adequate for it to perform.